Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. It is April 28th. We've got a fun reflection on miracles and coincidences. I think these topics are fun. I really like them. So, hopefully you have some fun with me too on these. We're going to get into them. So, expect miracle-working coincidences. Somebody said that a wonderful coincidence is when God acts but does not choose to leave a signature. Wonderful coincidences are appearing every moment of the day. People who live the spiritual life are especially positioned to recognize and understand coincidences. The founding of AA abounds with coincidences that boggle the mind. Almost by chance, the Oxford group ideas found their way to Bill Wilson. A business trip took him to Akron, where coincidentally, an earnest group of Oxford group people were trying to help Dr. Bob Smith to sobriety. With his business venture in collapse, Bill made the telephone call that put him in touch with Dr. Bob, eventually resulting in the launch of AA. Such miraculous coincidences work for the fellowship, and they're also at work in our individual lives. If we look closely, we'll discover that many such coincidences helped bring about our recovery or some other blessing. God is the guiding power behind these coincidences. What appears to be chance is really a marvelous intelligence coordinating random events for the good of all. I'll have confidence today that God is always bringing positive results out of a number of random events. This reflection is from Walk in Dry Places. This one's obviously, it's very AA heavy, it's very God heavy, but I just think they're fun topics and I think they're neat. And overall, I agree with them and I agree with the perspectives in this. And I like the points that they're bringing up and talking about just because they've come true and been shown to be true in my recovery and my life experience, which is really neat. So with that opening line, God acts but does not choose to leave a signature. One of my favorite lines I've heard in recovery is, coincidence is God's anonymity. I absolutely love that one. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. I don't. I'm definitely more on the everything happens for a reason line. It's just often those reasons are really beyond our understanding because the reasons usually don't have anything to do with us. We just think they do, or think, how does this relate to me? Oh my gosh, I went through all this horrible stuff. How could that possibly be for a reason? Well, maybe the reason's not about you, and I'm not taking away whatever the horrible things were at all. But there could be some reasoning beyond all of this stuff. I think a great example for me in my lived experience is all of the horrible things that I went through, and just how hard of growing up was, and then coming into addiction and all the terrible stuff I went through addiction and everything. I mean, I can look at all of that now and see that I went through all of that stuff to now be in recovery to be able to help other people. And I'm building this business and I'm really ambitious about where I want this to go and how much I want this to help. So even again, you heard me say me and I a whole bunch in there, but the point of all of that suffering is now a tool that I can use to try to help other people. So the whole point of it was for me to be able to be useful and be of service to other people. I mean, and obviously I think with this, that's something I am choosing to believe. I can choose to believe that or not. Based on my experience, I can prove that that is true. And then, you could also argue and prove that it's not true, which I think is kind of neat and fun about all of this stuff is it's just kind of just choosing to believe in these things, choosing to believe in miracles, choosing to believe in coincidence or not. It's just fun. For me, all of this is magic. This is real life magic. People think or say oh, magic doesn't exist. It absolutely does. And this is it. This is what I'm talking about. So it really stands out for me. So that's why I really like this stuff so much. So coincidence is God's anonymity. One of my favorite things that I have learned and come to believe in recovery. And I just think it's really fun. And I like seeing it in my everyday life. So going on in this paragraph a bit more, wonderful coincidences are happening every day. People who live a spiritual life are especially positioned to recognize and understand these things. I don't know. Maybe not. I think that may be a little ego inflating a little bit. Maybe we just try to purposefully draw more connection to them and put more of an energy and effort into making sense of it all. And really, a lot of this time, we're just convincing ourselves or making these things true. Like, this is how we're creating our own reality, is by choosing to believe or see these things or not. I will say that in my addiction, and a lot of people I've worked with have had this same feeling and experience, is that when we're in addiction, we miss out on all these things happening. So it's not like they weren't happening. We were just too fucked up to be able to see it, right? And just so absorbed in self and fear, plus either intoxication through behavior. I mean, we're just too fucked up to see it and miss it all. But I can absolutely look back on times and moments in my life in addiction where I also definitely believe that, God, whatever, something else was looking out for me. Because I, by all means, should have got in a lot more trouble than I did. Could have done a whole bunch of jail time, and I didn't. And I don't look at that as an excuse of that's God looking out for me to keep me out of trouble when I'm being a dirtbag. It's no, if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to be here making these videos and working with clients and being able to help people, or then could have gone through so much more trauma and damage that I may have never been able to come back from that to be as useful as I can now. So again, those coincidences weren't about me, but about saving my ass in order to channel all of this work and knowledge and everything to then try to be able to help other people. And I'm able to look back on my addiction now and see this in a bunch of different ways that's happened for me. And I love this line in the second paragraph is also very much what I have seen. The founding of AA abounds with coincidences that boggle the mind. Coincidence or, miracle. It talks about miracle working in the title here. I mean, I'm special and I'm not, in the sense of trigger warning, I survived suicide, which is what brought me into recovery. And I medically very much should not have survived. And I had people in the hospital tell me, they're I'm in the largest treatment hospital in one of the largest cities in North America. And they're telling me, the first thing they say is, just so you know, we can't prove why you're alive. This on paper does not make any sense. And I've heard that from other AA speakers countless times. I want to save the detail. I don't want to get graphic, but you wouldn't believe what people have gone through and survived and made it through. So miracle. And then can come into the coincidence piece on it, and based on what is that person able to do now in their life story and who have they interacted with. Even just me sitting there in meetings, being able to hear them share and speak is just, it's so powerful. It's unbelievable. My old sponsor always used to say, we live in an age of miracles. And it can be really hard to swallow sometimes and hear when you look at the state of the world and all these other things that are going on right now. And I'm not going to argue any of those things. And these miracles and good things taking place are also true. They are also happening and coexisting at the same time. And through recovery, for both myself and tons of people that I have worked with through these programs, have been able to see and acknowledge these things too. It's just kind of they're there if you want to see them, or if you choose to. It's there if you want to pick it up, basically. So that's just been a really neat experience that I've seen constantly in recovery. And just this story in the second paragraph in this reflection is a great example and depiction of all of this exactly happening. The founding of 12-step programs happened by coincidence, and there's old stories about Bill. He's in the hotel lobby and he walks down this hallway, and then he stands there and he's at the proverbial fork in the road where he can turn one way and go into the hotel lobby bar and drink, or he could turn the other way and make a phone call. turns the other way, makes the phone call. Dr. Bob, here we are. This was in 1930, whatever the shit. And it's still to date is the most impactful, successful, powerful addiction treatment program that we know of. And I'm saying this in 2024, so I hope that one day this video gets outdated and we have something progressed more beyond here. But either way, incredible. You can't convince me that that's coincidence. That connection with these people in Akron, that choice to turn right and make that call, you can't convince me that that's coincidence. On top of the fact of, like, why would you want to? Like, why would you want to choose to take this negative look and approach on this when it's just like, it can just be fun and cool instead? Like, I don't know. This is just my belief system. This is just my 2 cents here. This is how I look at all this stuff. So take it all with a grain of salt, but I really like this. And so then when it talks about just a little bit more in these other paragraphs, it's just talking more, just about coincidence, working in the program, working in our lives, and just, saying, like, the more present we are, the better we're taking care of ourselves, the more we're connected with ourselves and with others, living in action, like being connected with things outside of us, the more we're able to experience and see these things, and it just, for me, it gets to a point where when you hear so many coincidences from so many people for so many years, days, whatever, like, I can't think that all that just happens. I can't believe that all just happens for no point and no reason, and it's just a consistent thing that is happening. And also the coincidences almost always are positive. That's another point to this too. They have a positive affect, right? Positive results. When people tell these stories, they're smiling, laughing. Oh, that's so cool. A lot of people love hearing about coincidence stories. We all get this positive connection out of them, So I don't know. How can there not be something bigger and greater behind that or beyond all that? Like, how can there not be something bigger at play here? I just think it's really cool. And that's what they sum up with the end of this reading and with the quote as well. So those are the thoughts that I'm going to leave you with. There's my 2 cents on all of this stuff. But yeah, and that's where I'm at now. It's just believing that there is some form of God, higher power, whatever, that is looking out for me, that loves me and is taking care of me, and that is clearly making all of these coincidences happen every day. I just think it's really cool. So there you go. There's me. There's enough of my hippie granola corduroy rant. I hope you resonate with some of that. Please throw down in the comments what stands out for you with this. How do you feel about coincidence and miracles? How are you resonating with this reflection? Would love to hear those shares and your input and your experiences. There's a good one. Share some coincidences in the chat. That'll be fun. Please throw some coincidences down in the chat. I would love to read and see those. And I'm sure I wouldn't be the only one. So please throw them down there. That would be great. Doing the rest of the YouTube stuff, if you liked this video, like, share, and subscribe, just so we can carry this message to more people. I do private recovery coaching with folks, so if you like what you're hearing, but just want some more help and guidance on how to believe this, how to have faith, how to incorporate more of this into your recovery, please reach out to me. Contact info's in the description. I'd be happy to speak with you and see if there's a way that I can support you in your recovery. Okay? And while you're there, in that description are a bunch of other ways that Spotlight Recovery can support you. We have a bunch of free resources down in there, and then ways that you can support us as well, like getting yourself some sweet branded merch, for example, that you spill stuff on and then show on YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, check all that out. Great. You can support us and help just keep this channel growing. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed today's video and enjoy another day in recovery out there, and maybe experience some coincidences, and maybe let us know. We'll see what happens. But until then, enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.